Lewis Hart for the Ring magazine. Delighted today to be joined on a nice Monday afternoon with Frank Warren. Frank, it's good to be speak to you. How's things? How was your weekend?
It was good. It was good, yeah. And a nice weekend. What about you?
Mate, it was all good. It was all good. Yeah, enjoyable. Nice to sort of chill. It's been a bit busy period of boxing, so nice to have a weekend where there's not much going on in the UK. But yeah, that does all change obviously this weekend. Fabio Wardley takes on Justis Huni at Portman Road. Yeah, I guess you must be excited to be here for another nice stadium fight heavyweight. Can't ask for much more.
No, I mean, this heavyweight division is really lively. It's for the WBA interim title, and it's an important fight for Fabio. You know, this is a fight if he comes through it that he gets himself into position to be a mandatory for their title. So this fight's got a narrative to it. Um, and obviously, after our show at Wembley on the 19th of July, between the unification with the four belts with Usyk and Daniel, um, the dust has settled, and all these guys, including Fabio, if he comes through, or Justice, but I think Fabio hopefully will come through, will be jostling for a crack at that title.
Do you expect
On
the
both
belts to
sides.
become because obviously you've got Caballero as WBC interim, Parker as WBO interim, and obviously Fabio would be WBA interim. Do you expect? I know all with Queensbury as well. Funny enough, do you expect the belts to become fragmented after July 19th?
I don't know. It depends who wins and how they win. We will see. But you also got, don't forget, you've got Derek Chisora in there. It's the IBF.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. That's
So,
another one as
you
well.
know,
Yeah.
we worked very hard on this. It's not just happened overnight. We've been working on this for years, and it's just come to fruition. But the 19th, we'll see what happens. That will be the catalyst, though, for suddenly there'll be a lot of things happening with all the heavyweights.
Yeah. But obviously, it's a stadium fight for Fabio on Saturday. And I guess as a promoter, when it comes to putting on like stadium fights, sort of aside from your Wembleys, like ones like Wardley when it comes to Ipswich, when do you think you know it's the right time? Look, let's bring this guy to a stadium because you never really know, obviously, it's a big arena on Saturday, but when do you feel like, okay, it's the right time for like let's get this guy a stadium, knowing that the fan base warrants it in a sense?
Well, that's what we are. We're promoters. That's our job. I mean, we've done it with Josh Warrington, didn't we? Leeds.
Yeah.
I mean, over the years with loads of fighters. I so many of them. It's Carl Frampton, Belfast. We did it. You build the local heroes up, and that's what you do. That's what promotion's all about, and it's about developing and picking the right moments. We're getting great gates at our shows. We've had up in Scotland last week, or was it the week before last? Cracking show. Nine, I think it was sold out. Nine sold out. That was a brilliant show. All the way through. We've got some fabulous shows, and this one coming up at Ipswich, we felt, and it as has proven, it deserved to be in a stadium.
It's been yesterday actually was the anniversary since the great night of the 5 versus 5. We're obviously with a clean sweep with Queensbury over Matchroom. I see you got the nice celebratory top on today. Yeah, just on that night, reflecting on it because Queensbury sort of have such an ethos of building stars. How do you look back on that night when you saw Dubois win the IBF interim, Nick Ball become a world champion, and obviously great wins for your fighters? How do you look back on what was a special night like that?
I think the two you mentioned was all about the faith that we had in them and in the building process on what you said, our ethos of developing fighters and bringing them through it, as with the other guys on the card who came through and done brilliant jobs. Um, I look back on it and I was delighted for obvious reasons with it, and we want to do it again. Eddie and I are quite competitive, and Matchroom and Queensbury, it's a no brainer to do another one of these. And it's a Matchroom v Queensbury job on Saturday because
Mhm.
Justis Huni's with Matchroom.
That's what I was going to ask you. Obviously, we know that there was a date in August where we're looking potentially 5 versus 5. I know that's changed. They looked at Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney for that now. For yourself, for a 5 versus 5, do you think that'll be sort of with the Saudi involvement, or would you look to do that standalone in the UK as well?
I don't know. I haven't thought about it, to be quite honest. We just need to do it, so we'll work it out. We'll work it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. I also did want to ask you, Frank. Obviously, last week quite a surprise to see Olympian heavyweight Dennis Orie announce his retirement from boxing. Um, Obviously quite a unique situation and an interesting one from your point of view. Obviously him being a Queensberry fighter. What was your thoughts on the whole situation, how it evolved?
I thought it was very brave of him. He turned pro, he had his debut. He obviously doesn't feel boxing's for him. Um, and I'll take my hat off to him. He's not sort of just sort of like I'll get them, I'll earn some money and string everyone along. He said he just doesn't want to be doing it, and he's made his mind up. And as a result of that, he's going in a different direction with his life. So I wish him all the best for it, and good luck to him, and God bless him. And he'll always be a guest at any of our shows, that's for sure. 'Cause he's a lovely bloke, and I appreciate his honesty.
Let's say in hindsight, let's say sort of 2 or 3 years down the line, he might be like, look, I've sort of got that love again. I want to come back. Do you think that there would be a door open for Queensberry from? I know it's a long time. It's like a real hypothetical situation. But would you look at a situation like
Who knows? To see what happens if that happens. I hope he doesn't do that, because if you're going to do it, the best time to be fighting is when you're in, when you're in your prime. Not even in your prime, when you're at your best. When you're a young man.
that? Yeah. Sticking on the topic of heavyweights, I haven't actually had the chance to speak to you. Obviously, Moses Itauma garnering a lot of headlines from his great performance against Mike Balogun in Scotland. Do you feel like now you're looking at it, it looks like more and more so now there is that step up to world level coming for him?
Yeah, he's done it. He's had fought a couple of guys who are real decent fighters. I mean, he's done everything that's been asked of him, and he'll be fighting again in probably in July or August, but we'll be announcing that very, very soon. And just keep him busy now. He needs to be kept busy. He had a tremendous win, and it's the way you win fights as well. I mean, he's a very, very competitive fighter, and he was in with somebody who come to compete, and he just took the fight away from him. He's just too good for him.
It, in a case, in some aspect though, Frank, is it because he is so young but he is so talented? Is he hard to match because when you sort of come to roll the dice, when you go at a certain level, you can't step down from that. So does it make him hard to match in that sense because you don't want it to you don't want to roll the dice too early? Would you feel like there's no need? Like, yeah.
We just do what we continue doing with our fighters. We develop them and bring them through. We're not going to get phased or be pushed by anyone, any media or anybody. We do it at our own speed, and when we feel it's right. That's why they sign with us. That's why a lot of fighters sign with us, because we're good at what we do. They're good at what they do, but they need direction. And I always say, punches, big punches is all about timing. Matchmaking is about timing, and that is what we do. We're about the timing, and we get it right.
One of the names that was
They get a bit of grounding, and then we look at the bigger picture, and look at it and make a decision as to when we should be making that move.
Well, one of the names that was mentioned, especially when they were in Scotland, was Martin Bakole. And I know you've had your thoughts on it, but in an interview with Box Nation, Billy Nelson was questioning Itauma's chin. I don't sort of, it's obviously one that's a bit confusing because there's been nothing in Itauma's fights to suggest that he's sort of had his chin even tested. So yeah, I guess he's sort of initiating that there's something might be behind the scenes. But what did you make of those comments from Billy Nelson on Box
There's
Nation?
nothing behind the scenes, because there is nothing behind the scenes. It's just a nonsense. What I'll make of him, Billy's always got something to say, and he talks some crap sometimes, and that's what he does. I mean, what can I say? I mean, no one's going to tell me about Martin Bakole. I've got two eyes. I've been doing this a long time. I know him better than you know him.
Mm.
I know what he's capable of doing, Martin Bakole, and I know what he's not capable of doing. And that's it. Everybody was telling me he's the best thing since sliced bread. He's this and that, and most avoided fighter. And I look at his record. Name me of his records some well-known names.
Carlos Takam, Tony Yoka, Carlos Takam, Tony Yoka, Jared Anderson. I'd probably say the best three wins. So
there you go.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, I guess a couple more from myself, Frank. Did want to ask about the undercard for Usyk and Dubois. Is there any news you can give us on that?
Yeah, you'll get all be revealed probably on Saturday night after the fight.
Okay, brilliant stuff. And the final one from myself. We spoke about the 5 versus 5 earlier with Nick Ball. Yeah, what's the latest with him? When can we see him potentially return?
Fight in August.
Is that in Liverpool, ideally?
We will see. We will see.
Okay.
He will fight in August.
Okay. Good stuff, Frank.
In a
Appreciate you
big
taking.
fight. In a big
Okay.
fight.
Good stuff, Frank. I appreciate you taking time to speak to me. Always a pleasure. Catch up. I'm sure I'll be seeing you on the pitch in Ipswich in quite some time soon. Thank you, Frank.
No,
Appreciate
we
it.
look forward to it, Louis. All
Cheers.
the best. Bye,
Top
mate.
man. Thank you.